And on day 4, we have this beautiful soul, and she is none other than Susan Kennard. She is a very beautiful lady who interviewed me on her podcast, The Spiritual Awakener. She has a background in clinical psychology and psychotherapy. She is a spiritual scientist, and to make it better, she's a channeler as well. And without further ado, I'd like to also inform you that she's an author and you should probably read some of what she's written, which she'll probably inform you through this talk. So without further ado, let her take it off. Go ahead, Susan.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's great to share space with you and co-create with the universe. So I'm looking forward to this. That's great.
Right.
So I'll be really talking about stepping out of the spiritual closet because, and I kind of find that quite humorous, really, because quite often, we don't think of stepping out of a closet or a cupboard to actually align to our mission. But I definitely found that on my journey, the key thing to the universe opening the doors to all my opportunities and abundance and freedom was when I truly owned who I was. So, hiding behind being a psychologist and a psychotherapist for so many years, and that was an amazing part of my mission, but actually truly stepping out and saying, well, actually, I also have a channel to source, and I'm also speaking with my guides, and I also can see into the body, and I'm clairvoyant. And that was the time when the interviews started flooding in with the media, and it was like, oh, okay. So obviously, the importance was to get that message out to the world. And that happened, when not everyone was open to it. So it was many years ago now. Yeah, so that was the start of, the true title of what this talk is about, really, which is stepping out of the spiritual closet. Yeah, and at the moment, with what's going on in the world, and has been going on in the world for probably since 2012, really, and we're 2022 now, there's been a huge amount of awakening. And of course, the last 2 years, many people have been fast tracked. And I think that fast tracking has really really enabled people to take a step back and say, is this job something that is right for me and feeds my soul? Is this something that, this relationship that I'm in, is it for my highest and best good? Is it really a loving, supportive relationship? Is where I live this, the right energy for where I am? And also, am I choosing that for my body, or am I choosing that for my body? And I think so many people have been making decisions about these really big pivotal things in their life that perhaps if we hadn't have had that really big awakening or shutdown or lockdown or whatever anyone wants to call it, if we hadn't have had that, then maybe we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that the ascension pathway, ascension for me is really about seamless love and truly living your truth, of who you are. It's not that we kind of go, well, one day I'm not in ascension and the next day I am. It's really just that journey, isn't it? The journey is really what's important. And so, if you're listening to this and you feel that you need to do this to be an ascension or this to be an ascension, actually, it is really coming from the heart space. And the guides, really are very, very around me right now. And they were at the start when I created a sacred space. And one of the things that I'm really feeling drawn to say is that I'd love to take you through, if you're listening to this, I'd love to take you through a connecting, grounding, and a beautiful few moments meditation, because I feel that this will help you, the guides are saying, access those parts of you that have all the answers. So if that feels right, Fatma, is that okay for me to do that right now? Yeah. Okay, so let's come into our heart space. I've already prepared a sacred space, and there's a particular way I do that. But if you come into your heart space and just breathe normally for now, and notice as you connect with your heart how it feels to drop down into that energy. So just focus, even if you can't see, just focus your energy into your heart. Good. And now imagine taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And start to do that a few times and notice how much deeper you go into your heart space to connect. Good. And then imagine that that heart space is filling up with pure golden light. Just expand that beautiful light out into your heart. And imagine that every single cell of your body is lighting up. So you imagine that you are this beautiful being of light. And as you start to see that or imagine it, just imagine a sparkly glow of light within you. As you start to imagine that, you start to remember who you truly are, which is true source energy, which is beautiful light. So I want you now to imagine that that light goes down to your feet, and underneath your feet, there is a beautiful star. And I want you to imagine that this is like a crystal star. And you might get a sense of the color of the star. And just feel that sense of connection to that star. And imagine being connected to Mother Earth, to Gaia. So as you start to feel that, you may feel tingling, you may just feel a sense of being grounded. You start to feel more supported by Mother Earth. And so as you start to feel more supported, you're more supported in your human aspect. Okay? So just feel that sense of connection. And maybe imagine that star going slightly down deeper into the center of the earth. Good. Remember to take a deep breath. And then I want you to imagine from the top of your head that you can see just above the top of your head, your crown energy. And you may see this as a golden light, or you may see this as a different color, and that's perfect. And then just above that, imagine a beautiful star. And this star is your soul star. And this connects you to the unified light of consciousness and all that is, and all of the answers. And I want you to bring that light all the way down through your crown. Yeah, the guides are showing me lighting up every single cell in your body. And you're receiving healing as you are doing this. So if your physical body needs healing at this time and is showing you messages, just receive that healing light from God's source energy all the way through you. And settle it in your body. So you're starting to receive that beautiful source energy. And a reminder that you are source energy. Let's just bring that into your whole body. And you may get a sense of peace with this. You may get a sense of just peace and calm and a oneness. Okay, remember to take a deep breath and remember to breathe. So now we're going to invite in all of the beautiful beings of light that work with us. And knowing that we've already created a sacred space and we've grounded and connected, we know that as we invite these beings in, and angels and guides, whoever they might be, then we're inviting them in from a place of pure unconditional love. Okay, so just feel that sense of your guide stepping in. And sometimes we want to know who they are. Sometimes we have this sense that we need to know. And what the guides say is just to invite in from a place of pure unconditional love, knowing that these beings are really supporting us on our journey, helping us to remember who we are, helping us to remember that we can heal ourselves and just feel that sense of unity. And maybe just imagine if you ask them to step out of your energy field, just feel how it feels when you ask them to step out, and then invite them to step in. And so what you're actually doing there is you're asking and it is given. So as you ask, you receive. Okay? So you are in control of when your guides step in and when your guides step out. So I know that sometimes people feel worried about that their guides are with them all the time and they don't know who they are. But you are actually in control of that. They're always around us, but we have the power to ask our guides to step out or ask them to step in. And when you ask them to step in, they are so excited, so happy that you have remembered that that's their job. Their job is to assist you on this journey, but they cannot take away your free will. So let's invite them to step really close. Good. And come into your heart once again. And I want you to ask something that you want to know the answer of. So just ask in your heart whatever you would like to know for yourself, and then just listen. Remember to breathe. Fantastic. And then you can come back. And so that's something that you can really do on a daily basis, where you can ground and you can connect. And you're already grounded and connected, but when you actually intend it, you're in that space of ascension, the guides say, ascension. So you're in that space of ascension because you are working from a place of seamless love. So I can see Joshua here. Joshua works with me. Mother Mary works with me. And I can see the Council of Light stepping in really strongly. And before Fatima and I spoke, before we started recording, she said that she could see the light around me. And so what happens is as we work with our guides more and more, and we're really connecting to the source within, we are able to shine that light out to the world in the way that we're meant to. So if you are thinking that it's your time to really step out of that spiritual closet, then there will be a reason for that. There'll be a reason your higher self and your guides are nudging you in that direction. They're really nudging you to move forward. And one of the things that happens when you do step out of that spiritual closet is that you are actually setting that intention to the universe that you're ready to be of service. But being of service does not mean sacrificing yourself. And I think that's a really, really important thing for us to remember, is that we don't give all our energy away. We are standing fully in the presence of who we are, and we're able to share our gifts, our light, our experiences with the world without the feeling that we are sacrificing all of our time and all of our energy. And that comes from the inner work. That comes from the true inner work of really honoring ourselves, really honoring that child self, that child self that is feeling those feelings of unworthiness, not good enough, surely I couldn't do that, all of these kind of doubts that we have in our life. And when we have those doubts, they just become part of our frequency. So as we walk about the world, that frequency goes with us. Yes, we can't see that frequency necessarily, but it is actually the mirror of our life. And so if we imagine that how our life is now, if we take a look at our life, whether it is our financial situation, our physical body, our relationships, whatever it might be, then we can see an indication of how expanded our light is, or how much we have dust. And the guides like to talk about the dust in the field, because really that's all it is. We are this incredible being of light having a human experience, and this human experience is carrying our soul. But essentially, we knew exactly why we were meant to be here. We knew exactly why we were here on earth at this time. And it really was to shine our light to the world. So I'm really happy to take any questions that anyone might have. So I don't know, Fatima, if there's anyone. I can't see the screen with anyone watching or calling in. But if there's anyone that's got any questions, I'm really happy to tune in with my guides and answer your questions the best I possibly can. And if not, I can do some generic healing with one of my processes, which is coming to me now. So whatever you feel is perfect.
Yeah, we'll wait on the see, but currently there are no questions.
Okay, all right. So one of the things that I'm feeling would be really helpful for people, perhaps they listen afterwards, because it's in the UK time, it's the morning here, and in the States, everyone's still asleep. So, you know, they'll get this when they wake up. And one of the things that I'm really guided to do is actually, it's one of the processes in my book, Awaken the Light Within Your Heart, which will be out this year, but it's called the emotional wall. And it's a really, really powerful process that I was given many, many years ago when I worked with veterans with PTSD diagnosis. And I stumbled upon working in this way. Many of my processes were born at that time because the veterans didn't want to talk about what had happened. They'd done it. They'd already talked to people about it. They'd taken all the medication. They'd done all of that. Nothing worked. So the guides gave me these processes because I didn't need to know anything. And the veterans didn't need to tell me anything. And so it was a beautiful experience of offering a way of helping them heal. So I want to share that process. So it would be really great, actually, Julie and Fatma, if you want to do it with me and see what experience you get from it. And perhaps you can feed back, you know, how old the child was or whatever you want to do. But it's a really beautiful experience to do, even by just reading the text or my book, or, you know, listening to the replay, or whatever you feel you're drawn to do. Okay, so we're already in our heart space. We're already there. But if we just come into our heart space just one more time, just reconnect. And just think about something, get something in your mind where you feel that it's blocking you, or you're in fear about, or there's something that you feel you would really like to overcome. And maybe you've done lots of work on yourself, but you haven't found the key to it. And you still feel you keep attracting that situation, or you feel it's a money block, or whatever it is for you. So just come into your heart for a moment without any judgment of what's happening in your life right now, and just connect with that. And ask for guidance. Is that the thing that's the most important for me to heal today? Just come into your heart with that. Okay. So when you have come into your heart, you have a sense in your mind of what you would like to heal. Okay. So if you imagine that there is a wall in front of you now, just take a look at that wall and see how it feels to you. Is it above your head? Is it below your head? Is it brick? What color is it? Just get a sense of it in front of you. And maybe Julie and Fatma can do that as well. Just get a sense of that wall. We all have them, right? You know, it's not, no matter how much work we've done on ourselves, there's always a nuance. There's always something that we can release. Okay, good. So we've got the wall. And then I want you just to imagine that you're behind the wall, but what can you see over the wall? And just connect with if you can see anything over the wall. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. And if you can't see anything over the wall, imagine what might be on the other side of that wall. Just get a sense of that. Okay. And then I want you to imagine that there is a child standing next to you behind the wall. Okay. Have you got them? Good. So connect with that child and just connect with how they feel that there is a wall in front of them. And just connect with the emotions that they feel. And can they imagine what's over the wall? Just get them to imagine what might be over the wall. It could be a field, it could be the sea, it could be a playground, it could be whatever. So just connect with that. And then I want you to imagine that behind that little child are 3 beautiful angels. Excuse me, some water. So imagine those angels around that child. And then notice how the child feels. How do they feel now that they have this angelic support? Just get a sense of how they feel now. And how does the wall feel to them now? It might still be there, but they might feel it's not quite so threatening or not quite so tall or not quite so thick. Okay? So then I want you to see that one of the angels is stepping forward and they're bringing a beautiful basket full of sparkling stars. Now, all of these stars are pure and they're just for your child, your little inner child. So I want your child, no matter how old they are, to choose the star of connection. Even if they're a baby, they'll know exactly what to do. So imagine that they're choosing the star of connection. And they may want to connect with the colour of that. And then I want them to place it in their heart and feel that sense of connection within them. Because this is part of the reason why this emotional wall was put up. Okay, so just watch how they feel and watch if the wall changes or whatever goes on. It's all unique to you. And then I want your child to see and find the star of unconditional love. And as they find that star of unconditional love, they pick it up out of the basket and place it in their heart. And as they do that, they actually start to remember that they're worthy of unconditional love, that they are unconditional love. And you may get this sense of warmth in your own heart and expansion in your own heart. Okay. So the next star that I'm being guided for this exercise is the star of freedom. So I want your child to find the star of freedom and to pick it up, hold it in their little hands and place it in their heart, remembering that they were always free, that they just forgot that they were a free soul. Okay. Remember to breathe, take a deep breath as you integrate those feelings and that new sense of frequency. So what I'm being given next is the mission star. So sometimes this mission star is huge in the basket and sometimes it's multicolored. So whatever it is for you, I want your child to find the mission star and hold it in their hands and feel the wonder of the energy from this mission star, because it is exactly perfectly aligned to you. And so as they take that mission star and place it in their heart, they start to feel the sparkles within them, the part of them that always knew but just forgot. So just really be there for a few moments as you maybe start to feel that yourself, and you start to get a sense of that connection to why you're truly here. Okay, good. Fantastic. Okay. So the next thing that the guides are guiding me to give you is a magic wand. So I want you to look in the basket and get your child to find their very own magic wand, which has a star on the top. And as they pick up that wand, they start to remember that they are a co-creator with Source, with God, the universe, and that they were always meant to remember that they could create anything they chose. And just see how your child feels now they have this magic wand. How do they feel about being here in the world? How is the wall looking? Is it smaller? Is it thinner? Has it gone? Just check in with how it feels now. And one of the angels is placing a cloak of protection around your child. And this is kind of like a magical Harry Potter one, where it's invisible to everybody else. But your child knows that as they wear it around their shoulders from this day on, they are always protected. They don't need to look around them to check that they're safe. They always know they're protected from this moment on. So check in with how your child feels now. They have their magic wand, their cloak of protection, and there are many more gifts coming. So the next gift that the angels want to give your child is the Book of Life or Akashic Records. So get your child to look in the basket and see a little white book. It's golden with the writing, and even though they may not be able to read or spell at that time, they know that that book has their name on it. And as they pick up that book, they start to feel a sense of lightness and oneness and unity. And they don't need to read it. They don't need to even look at the inside of it. They just place it in their heart and they start to feel the energy of connection. Remember to breathe. Take a deep breath. And then one of the angels is coming by and giving your child a crown of sovereignty on their head. Just have a look at this crown and feel the beauty of it. Maybe it's got jewels. Maybe it's just sparkly. Maybe it's like a tiara. However it is for your child, it is perfect for you. So just honor that crown of sovereignty and that feeling of oneness and mission and purpose and worthiness of being here. Take a really deep breath. And then I want you to get your child to look at the wall. Has the wall disappeared? Is there a tiny bit of the wall left over? Can they see over the wall now? Or at least can they imagine? So what we want to do is remind your child self, your inner child, that they have the power to change and create anything. So if there's still a wall left or a part of a wall, we're going to get your child to wave their wand and disappear that wall. So just do that now. Imagine that they have all the power within them to just wave their wand, sparkling light, and disappear that wall. Okay, good. And feel the sense within you as you can feel that frequency change. Because that emotional wall was in your heart. And as it was in your heart, it was blocking you from what could be possible for you. Okay, so the next part we're going to go to now is, what can your child see now where the wall was? What can you see? You're standing there with your child. So what can you see where the wall was? Has it changed? What's happening for you in your body? Okay, so now we're going to go to the part of compassion. It's really important to give ourselves compassion and that child part of you, for whatever reason, and we don't need to analyze it, but for whatever reason, they chose to put up this wall to keep themselves safe. So I want you to say out loud, if possible, to your child these words. I'm so sorry that you felt you had to put up this wall to keep yourself safe. I'm so sorry that you forgot you were always loved and looked after. I'm so sorry that you looked outside of yourself for love for so long, when it was always within your heart. I'm so sorry that you thought it was your job to heal the world, when it was only ever your job to heal yourself. I'm so honoured that you're here today so that we can heal together, so that we can have so much fun together, creating in this world our hopes and our dreams, and the reason why we're here. So take a deep breath, and I want you to imagine that that little child standing by your side is being picked up and brought into your heart. So I want you to bring them into your heart, and let's bring the angels in as well. Bring the angels into your heart and feel that sense of connection once again, because that child has been outside of you for all of your life, feeling that sense of disconnect and a feeling that they had to keep themselves safe, and perhaps a feeling that they didn't really know why they were here. So I want you now to connect with yourself, and what can you see over the wall? And I want you now to say these words. And as you say these words I'm going to give you, I want you to imagine that you're stepping over the threshold where the wall was, and then I'll take you to the next step. So I want you to say, as I let go of the past and the limiting beliefs, I step forward to the present, where I choose to create from my heart as a sovereign being of light. And then I want you to take a deep breath as you stand there in your new, fresh energy. And I want you to look around and see how it feels to be in that new frequency. Feel it in your body. Feel it in the energy around you. Feel the sense of newness. Give yourself so much gratitude, so much love for honoring yourself. Okay, good. So now I want you to imagine that the scene that you're in, whether it's in a field, whether it's in the woods, whether it is on the beach, wherever it might just be light as well. I want you to imagine that you could turn up the dial so that it was brighter, that it was clearer, almost like you're zooming in. So imagine that you could turn up the dial of light. So just do that now. And, maybe imagine that there's a dial at the side of you and you could literally turn it. And as you feel that, just notice how it feels in your body. Because as you are connecting with that frequency and your intention, you're actually shifting your frequency to a new level. So not only have you let go of that child belief and that wall that stopped you for so long in your life, that actually you are now understanding that you can shift your frequency yourself. So I want you now to imagine that where you're standing with that beautiful light, that beautiful scene, that actually you can take a photograph or a snapshot of that scene with you feeling that new frequency of freedom and abundance and love. And I want you to bring that like a little tiny cube into your heart where you're sitting now. And just feel the expansion in your heart. And we're just going to send that expansion out to the universe so that the universe responds with the reflection back of your new frequency, your new mirror. And just feel that sense of newness coming in, new opportunities coming to you, new insight, new direction, new creative opportunities. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. How was that for you, Fatma? How was it?
I think it was a very good experience. But I would have to say, I did see other stuff, and because of the parts that I've already healed,
Yeah.
and that was what I started with.
Sure.
So I had a different experience. So what I would like to do is, instead, I'd like to ask Julie her
Amazing.
perspective.
Julie.
Yeah. So
Yes,
Julie,
please.
could you please on your camera and
Hi, Julie.
Susan.
Hi.
Finally, it's an honor to finally meet you, and thank you so much for this experience. It's really beautiful. So for me, I feel lighter, after the experience. I wouldn't say that because for me, I may need a few more sessions for breaking the wall. Really.
How old was your child?
That's a very good question. I don't quite know how old is she. Perhaps she's at the age of 3 to 5, around there.
Yeah.
And there's always, it has always been a wall around there.
Yeah.
So so it's a very great experience, but I guess I just need to get more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would definitely work. Yeah.
And also with, so when we're doing it generically like that, obviously if I'm working with someone and doing it in a tailored way, the guides come in and they're like, well, this is what they need to, this is what they, so it's like a very generic one to do it that way. But quite often the child, and this is a really, really good point that you're saying here, is that the child will need something else. So for example, there were many things that we said to our child. I'm so sorry that you felt this. I'm so sorry. But depending on the person will depend on what needs to be expressed. Right. So it could be something like, I'm so sorry you felt you were doing it all on your own. I'm so sorry that you felt so lonely. I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? So it depends on what that person needs. But it is such a powerful experience. And even if we don't always know what we've healed or how old the child was, the pure intention that we want to release something and the pure intention that we are honoring ourselves in that moment, actually, it shifts like a domino effect in our life. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear, how you feel about it. The thing with visualization as well is that this is about our trust as well. So the more that we feel, so we can imagine an orange, for example, like a fruit. So we can see an orange in our mind, but we sometimes think we need to see physically the orange to feel that we can visualize. And actually, it's just the sense of an imagination that we're tapping into. It's called the theta brainwaves, but we're tapping into that theta wave of our creative imagination. Okay, so if we just imagined a child, we might remember how we looked at age 3 to 5. We get a sense of it, but we wouldn't actually necessarily know how we looked. But by just putting that there, we're actually creating that part of us that knows everything. So, as we did in the meditation at the start of the talk, we're connecting with that part of us, that inner part of us, that higher self that has all the answers. So even though, Julie, you say that, you might need more sessions, you might need so on, actually, the more you do that work, the more you actually start to trust yourself, the more it becomes easier for you and easier for you. So it might be worth doing it again. Maybe not when you're holding the space, because in a way you're holding the space today, and you're doing your amazing job here to support Padma, in her journey. So it might be that there's one ear somewhere else, or one part of you somewhere else. Whereas if you do it by yourself and really listen to the replay, then you may find that you get a different experience.
Yeah.
But you feel lighter. Yeah.
I do feel lighter, and I feel really joyful right now compared to before, which is a bit heavier.
Yeah.
And I can already see how this experience would really benefit a lot of people who's really on this journey, like trying to heal themselves. And sometimes they may not know exactly what they're going through. So this work, this experience alone would be so beautiful and so helpful for people who's watching the replay as well. So thank you so much for doing it.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I wanted to but go ahead, Fatima.
Susan, one of the things I wanted to say was why I gave her an opportunity was like, there are many people who go through the same thing, but the fear of actually saying it out loud is another thing. So that was one of the things. And one of the questions people always have is, how do you know how far are you in your journey? So
good question.
So what I would like to offer now is what you see if you do the same thing. So what I saw was this. So I had a child, a very young child, about the age of 2. And very soon enough, the child just gripped onto me, and the child was holding me, and I was carrying the child. I was lying down, and the child said, um, uh, so I said, what do you see behind the wall? And the child said, that was you, and you don't want to go. So it's like the child just said, let's go the direction that you've already gone. You don't want to go there.
Right.
And
Wow.
the further the child went with me gripping my hand, the child was really happy. And when I did say, don't fear, come back, let's go to the wall again. Let's see now. And I did take the child back, because with that trust. And when the wall was never there, and what was behind the wall instead, it was a very different experience.
Yes.
Was what I saw Jesus himself.
Wow. Yeah. He was very much here.
And and the child just straight went to Jesus without fear, and just was being held in the same way. And I said, that's great.
Oh my goodness, what beautiful experience.
So I said, if I did it and said it out, it wouldn't be nice to initiate something like this. I mean, it's good, but people need an experience that they encompass. But some of us have a process along the way. So one of the questions I had for you is that, how many people ask, how do we know how far we are in our healing and that we're not heading back?
Sure.
So I guess that's what I feel my guides are telling, that the questions that are there. Yeah.
Fantastic. So the way you can see it, so I touched on it a little bit, but the way that you can see where you are is joy. As Julie was saying, she feels more joy and happiness within her after that. So joy is a key thing. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel that what you are doing, like you and I, Fatima, like we live our joy, we live what we do, we absolutely love it. And it's not like work. So when you start to feel more joy, thank you, and gratitude for, guides are talking now, gratitude for where you truly are in your life, then you start to see things open up. So joy and love and gratitude are three main ways that you can find out how far you are on that journey without any judgment, because we definitely oscillate between, 3D reality, I can call it, or higher consciousness, whatever. And we're living in this world where we have one foot in and one foot out a lot of the time. And I would imagine anyone listening to this later on completely feels that we are in this 3D, but we're also in our true higher consciousness of our source energy. And right now, there is a big shift with that. So we are sometimes really in our consciousness, our pure consciousness, and sometimes we're really out of our consciousness. We're really into paying the bills, driving the car, if you've got children, having to get them ready for whatever, that we're in that 3D kind of physicality. Okay. So the more that you see yourself in the joy and the gratitude and the love, the unconditional love for yourself, the more that your life changes that way, the more you are on your mission. Okay. So that's things like what you put in your body, the way you look after your physical vehicle, we can call it, the barometer for our soul, how you actually connect with people, how safe do you feel with people, how honoring of yourself, do you give your power away, do you choose, thank you, do you say yes a lot without saying no? Yeah, that's guides are telling me. So, do you always say yes? And this is what we're talking about, sacrificing. You're of service, but do you sacrifice yourself, or do you sometimes say, actually, that's not a resonance to me, that isn't for my highest, best and truth, right? And one of the ways that you can do that and start to catch yourself is that if someone asks you something and you get that feeling of, oh, well, okay, I'll do it, but actually there's a part of you that doesn't really want to do it, then you know that that isn't truly honoring you. Okay. It's really coming from a place of guilt, fear, shame, should, whatever it might be. And always, 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 of course, we've had many lives, but always that gets triggered in our childhood. And that's why, you know, I mean, I was a trauma specialist in child protection for many years. And that's why I feel that actually our journey of doing the inner work is really, really key. So then as we start to open up and unfold our frequency and our heart out to the world, then those opportunities come in. So if you take a look at your life and you can see that you're feeling more joyful, you're choosing, and your friends are ones that are equally loving and supportive of you, that you know that you can trust them, you know you can trust yourself, you're starting to feel that sense around you, and friends will go. Like as you shift your energy, relationships go, friends will go, other people come in, your life changes, and that is because you are honoring yourself. Okay. Yeah, thank you. The other thing they're saying to me is, and reminding me, is that when you are in relationships, it's one-sided. So maybe it's where you give everything and that's what you feel is what you need to do. Then that's not truly honoring yourself. That is giving your power away to another person and sacrificing yourself. So have a think about that. You know, if you're listening to this and you are in a relationship like that, doesn't mean you need to end the relationship. It means actually start to think about, well, how can I heal that part of me that feels the only way I get love or the only way I can be loved is by giving everything to someone else so that they will love me. That's a really key thing. Joshua steps in here and he's saying it's about trusting and truly surrendering to who you are. Thank you. And also that you are, thank you, you are never on your own. So you're never on your own. So even if you feel that you can't let go of a relationship because you might not have anyone else in your life, or you can't let go of a job because how will you ever, you know, look after yourself? He's saying to remind us that we are never on our own and we are always guided and always looked after. We just have to remember who we are. And the key thing is coming home to ourselves. You know, I did a video on my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Susan Kennard, and I do a free video every week. And I did one yesterday, and it was about longing for home. And it was really talking about, we did a process, but talking about the fact that we always want to be somewhere else, which we think is our answer to coming home. And many people are opting out at the moment. Many people, many souls are leaving, and we know this. And there are many that feel like leaving. And actually, our home is within. You know, we don't have to transition and go home to be at home, you know. And I would say that that feeling of oneness, and as Julie was saying, that feeling of lightness, that feeling of everything always works out. We always get a parking space. We're always looked after in a restaurant. Of course, it's going to work out. Of course, I'm going to be able to do that. That feeling is the coming home to remembering that you are pure divine light, that you are always walking the path, being guided. You know, and this is how I feel about it. So essentially, I feel, and I'm not sure it's true, but this is how I feel. We came in, this is a master's, this is university, right? We came in and we thought, right, okay, we're going to do this, right? This is an experiment. This is incredible. Let's have a human body. Let's feel the emotions. Let's, you know, forget who we are for a while, right? And then our journey is to remember who we are and remember that we're pure love. And remember that why are we here? Well, we're here to help others remember that they're pure love, right? And that we co-create with the universe, that we were always meant to be free. We were always meant to be abundant. And I always believe we were never meant to be told what to do, but that's just me. So I always believe that we're meant to have our own decisions and our own heart and our own knowing, right? But, you know, we were also living in this world right now. So I think we were given a body, or we chose a body, to be the barometer for our soul. So we would know when we were out of alignment with unconditional love of ourselves or the mission that we chose. So when our body, and disclaimer here, I'm not a doctor, I don't claim to heal or cure, but when our body actually starts to show messages, maybe it's achy shoulders, maybe it's a stiff leg, maybe it's a bit of a lower back pain, then our job is to listen to our body, because our body is always talking to us. You know, it never stops talking to us. It's constantly talking to us. And it's our job to listen to it, because the mind, body, and soul is not separate. You know, in the medical field, and I work with doctors and I have friends that are doctors, so I honor the fact that they're amazing healers in themselves, right? But the difference between the medical model and the remembering who we are is that the medical model feels that our mind is separate from body. And so the body is always treated as a symptom, or let's fix it, or let's prevent it. And you know where I'm going with that, right? So if we were to remember that we actually need to listen to our body, and that doesn't mean we don't see a doctor, that doesn't mean we don't have an operation, okay? It just means that we're starting to acknowledge that that vehicle that we chose for our soul is actually our inner guidance. Yeah. And I believe that something that's coming to me as well is, and so maybe somebody needs to hear this, is that when the body shows a message of cancer, I always believe that that message of cancer is the opportunity to come home to self. Yeah. And I've worked with that for many, many years with people that have had that message in their body. And so the coming home to the self is the remembering of the unconditional love of self and the unconditional love of who they are. And I have some of my members have experienced that journey and have healed themselves and are now creating, you know, incredible experiences to help others. So that I know is absolutely 100% true. It is about coming home to self. And sometimes that means it's time to transition and go to the next level of their life, you know, on a soul level. But sometimes it is just that message to remember that you're here for so much more than you thought you were. And the body had to go, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, right? And we put medication in there, drugs in there, and whatever else. And we can't hear our body. And then we're like, oh, it got deeper and deeper and deeper until we actually are listening. Yeah, I think somebody needed to hear that for some reason. But so, you know, long answer to the question that you had, but there are many things, you know, our physical body, our financial situation is another key. You know, are we worried about money? Are we worried about what we have in the bank? Are we worried about, you know, where the next penny is coming from? Penny, because I'm in the UK, but wherever you are in the world. So it's that aspect of when we're living in that fear and when we're living in that lack, then we know that there's something within us where we've forgotten, because we were always provided for. We were always meant to have a free, abundant life where we could create on our journey. And I definitely know that, you know, in my life, I wasn't brought up with, you know, being in riches or having everything I needed financially, but I never actually felt that I was in lack. And yet I was brought up with a mother who had the perception of lack. So I think I chose her so that I could overcome that feeling of confusion around money and love and support. And I think that's a really key thing, that, you know, we choose our parents to experience what we need to experience, and for them to learn through us as well. And, you know, obviously it's just a beautiful symbiotic relationship. But I definitely feel that, you know, there are many people struggling with money right now, definitely here in the UK. And it is that opportunity to step out of the spiritual closet and actually remember who they are. And there's nothing better than something being pulled away in your life, or a feeling of lack, to wake you up, and a physical body issue as well. That's definitely a wake up call. So there's a few things there for people to take away, that some of them may resonate and some of them may not. And like any book or any talk that anyone does, really go with what feels right to you, because it will be what you need to hear.
Right.
Next question.
So, yeah. Is there any questions?
Sorry, let me check the rest of the platforms. So far, we don't receive anything, but we have listeners on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, they're welcome to offer any questions, and I'm happily here to tune in with my guides. And I mean, Joshua and Mother Mary are very here, so it could be that some healing might take place as well. So if anyone wants to be brave and, you know, leave a message, then the thing with that is it will be for everyone. So if you've been thinking you want to ask a question and you're like, oh, it's a silly question, then it won't be a silly question, because it will be for everybody who listens after, and anyone who perhaps didn't feel ready to ask it. So that would be good.
Yeah, so I think maybe one of the things that you can actually say is that they probably want to hear about what Mother Mary and Joshua have to say. Yeah,
Sure.
in a particular message for everybody who might watch as later, as well as those who are watching live now. I think that that would really help them, especially Mother Mary. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
she's the one that's stepping forward.
Yeah.
So funny. So funny that you said that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's a combination. So I feel like, so as she steps in, okay. So she's holding, symbolically, she's holding the baby. And she is holding the baby, and she's saying to me that this is how, as she works with us, as she works with me and many others, she is coming in to heal that baby self, that part of us that forgot as we were born into this world. And she's coming in to heal that part. I know she wants to come in and do, she wants to sing to everybody in a moment, and I could sense that. But she just wants to say that as we come into the world, in that moment of forgetting, we then forget that we were always, always loved and supported. So no matter what journey we've chosen, however our birth was as we entered the world, it is all perfect for the mission and the journey that we chose. However, now is the time for us to, thank you, surrender pure love to her. So what she's saying essentially is she's saying that allow her to heal this baby self. And she wants to do this today with everyone. So she wants to come in and get us all to connect with that part of us as we came into this world this time. And she wants to heal that part of us that forgot who we are. Wow. Okay. So let's do that now, because she's stepping really close to me, holding the baby self. So she wishes for us all to imagine that she is standing by our side. And actually Joshua's stepping in as well. And he wants you to imagine that he has his hand on your heart. Yeah. So he's giving his love as well, but she's going to come in and sing. Okay. So it's like light codes coming through me from her. Okay. So I want you to imagine that Mother Mary is standing by your side, and she's coming in to heal that baby self, that newborn baby self, that in that moment forgot that they were so having a human experience. So whatever shock, whatever trauma, whatever perception of belief that you took on from your mother, your father, your ancestors, whatever it is, any past lives, just surrender this now to Mother Mary as you hear her song. Okay, here we go. So just be in the presence of your heart for a moment. So I see that she wishes to give a gift to everybody who's listening now in the moment, in this now moment, and anyone listening after in the now moment will receive this. And I see it like a blue crystal. Thank you. What is it? So she's saying it's the gift of speaking the word of God. So she wishes to give everyone's blue crystal. So imagine that you're receiving it within your heart now. I see it like a sapphire blue. Just receive it in your heart. And know that as you receive that, it's like an activation of speaking the word of God. So however that comes through for you in your life, however that is, know that the frequency of your words now, she tells me, are changing to the words of love and source. So anything that was released, the trauma, the shock, pain, the discomfort, the fear, the shame, whatever it is, the guilt, has been released from that moment of birth. Now gives you the permission to speak the word of God, but the permission comes from you. And what she's also saying is to call on her, and Jeshua, of course, but to call on her whenever you feel a feeling of you're doing this on your own, that you need some healing within your heart, that you feel a child self part of you is coming up to be healed. Just invite Mother Mary to come in and release that pain within your heart. And so it is.
Thank you. That was really beautiful, Susan.
Yeah, I could really feel her come through. I received that as well. It was really beautiful. You can see the colour in my in my face. Yeah. Yeah, it's coming through.
Yeah.
Oh, there's somebody. Diana's come on.
Yeah.
Cool. Hi, Diana. If you wanted to ask a question.
So, Diana, if you want to ask any questions, please feel free. You can always type it in the chat if you have it, and we'll relay to Susan as well. She's able to see. Yeah.
Oh, that's great, Diana.
Yeah.
That's great. So what do you feel, Fatma, what do you feel would be helpful for people? So they've done the inner child, they've received healing from Mother Mary. What do you feel anything, I'm getting the word spiritual entrepreneur here, so maybe something around, maybe something around how we can live our truth, but actually being able to live a living as well, to be able to, bring that abundance in and live our service. Do you think that would be helpful? for people. There's lots of people that are stepping out and creating their own healing practices at the moment, isn't there? Yeah. So I will be running a masterclass and being a spiritual entrepreneur from the perspective of how to live your life later on. And that comes at the end of the month. So people can sign up to my newsletter and make sure they get the notification of that, and my YouTube channel as well. However, one of the key things I think is really important is to be able to offer yourself and your service in a way that you reach everyone. So I have a free YouTube channel, which of course is just me giving my time and meditations and healing every week. I have my book coming out, which obviously be low cost. I have my podcast, which is completely free. I also have retreats, which are fairly low cost. I have astrology events, which you've been on. That's where my intuitive astrology events. We have one tonight, actually, at 9 o'clock. The new moon solar eclipse tonight. I have higher tickets, so I have private one-to-one sessions, and I have VIP sessions as well. And I have a membership, so I have lots of different ways that I can reach people. And I think when I started out, that was something that I didn't have. And so there was a bit of me that always felt I really wanted to reach those that are not in a position to work with anyone one-to-one and to come on any groups or memberships or anything. And because I wasn't completely in alignment with my true abundance, freedom, source, mission, actually, that didn't come until later on. So as we are in our true mission, we have the freedom, we have that space to be able to offer our time, as I'm offering today. I can offer that time. I have that space in my life to do that. And that is, I feel, truly living my mission. In the days where I couldn't, and I was just trying to create my business and my practice, look after my 2 children, who, when I first, became a single parent, were 11 months old and 2 years old. So it was a tricky time. And that was nearly 15 years ago now. So this is a long time ago. But essentially, that was a time where, financially, I had to survive and look after my children. Okay. But it wasn't until I stepped out of the spiritual closet and truly owned it and said, actually, I am a channel for source. I do work with my guide, also as a psychologist. That's when the doors opened, as I said at the top of, this event, that's when the world opened. Okay. And that's like a really big turning point in spiritual awakening. So I would say that if you can offer something, if you have a spiritual business, healing practice, whatever it is, even if you can offer, maybe create a YouTube channel or do some Facebook Lives or whatever you can do, even if it's for 2 minutes, start to offer that out to a community, set up a free group, whatever it is. I feel that the universe really responds well to that. I know, Fatima, your work, you offer a huge amount of your work free to people, which is amazing. And so as we do that, it's almost like we feel amazing. And so as we feel that gratitude and that love, the universe gives that back to us threefold. And that's when you truly know that you're living your source. And there's no ego with that. There's no kind of anyone's better than anyone else. That isn't how it works. But if we feel that we are giving that joy to others, but not sacrificing ourselves. So we wouldn't want you to give all of your time away for free, all of your money away, all of your service away, because you can't keep the lights on. You can't keep the heat in your house. You can't feed yourself. Source never wants that. Definitely our guides don't want that. But if you can just give maybe a couple of minutes of your time, or just offer something, a free gift or something like that, then you'll notice that you have more time in your life, you have more freedom and more space. So I think that's a really good tip for people that have spiritual businesses, that it doesn't have to be that you work 24/7. I wish I'd known that all those years ago, because I used to put my children to bed and work, just work right through, into the night, because that's how I had to do it then, I thought. But obviously what I know now is very different to what I knew then. Yeah, so I help people with that, really help people when I give as much information of how I learned the hard way, so that people could be fast tracked to really, learn the easy way of how to create in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say, Fatma, about yours? Because you give a lot of your time, your beautiful soul, and, would you say that that's true?
I do think whatever you say, I don't even think whatever you say is very true, because you realize that you do not need to worry about anything in the material. What we do is so real. We don't worry about, and Susan, you especially would know about it, where you are today and how it all started out. And it's not forced. You don't wonder why there's nothing happening, or because it's happening. It's always happening. And when you do it and people are able to gain from this and they're able to get that experience, there's nothing that makes you happier.
I know.
It's like literally watching the happiness of people's face, and actually that sincere joy is what makes you wake up every day and do what you do.
Exactly.
So it's never a job. What I do is
exactly.
Never
it's not work.
Yeah,
it's not work
at all. It's something like my life. It's what I love. And that's the same with you. So there are a lot of people who do this. So definitely, it's amazing, and everybody can do it, and everybody does it in various different ways. So it'd be great if everybody could step out of that closet and see that this is not just for a couple of souls on this earth, but it's a birthright that we are all meant to live.
And I live a free life. I travel when I like. I'm off again in a few weeks' time to Turkey with my children, and I home ed them. So this afternoon we're going sailing. My son is a teenager and he's going to do his sailing class. I'm working tonight. I'm holding my beautiful astrology event tonight. I love it. I couldn't think of anything better, really. It's an amazing life to dip in and out and do what I want and be of service to everybody that I feel drawn to work with, and they feel a resonance with me. And it's just great. It's an amazing experience when you live your mission.
Okay, so at the moment we don't have any questions, but what we can do is probably we can end it soon, and you can end by telling people your email address or your website if they have further questions, and we'll also, and then I will end.
Okay, my love, thank you so much. So you can find me, my name, Susan Kennard. You can find me on my website that way, which is susankennard.co.uk with double N, so KENNARD. You can find me on my YouTube with the same name, which I'd love you to join, because every week I do a free video. You can find my podcast, which is called The Spiritual Awakener, and you will find that across all platforms, as well as on my YouTube channel. What else? Facebook, my name. LinkedIn, my name. Instagram, my name, but with a 1 at the end, Susan Kennard 1. Email is just susan@susankennard.co.uk, but you can do that by going onto my website. How else? I'm just trying to think of how else people can contact me. Really, my door's open. Just send me a message, a private message on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, but definitely join my YouTube channel. I would love to share that with you on a weekly basis, and the guides always come through with something beautiful for us to experience each week. So yeah, that's where you can find me. Thank you.
So I would like to end it and say thank you so much, Susan, for doing this. So grateful to have you today. And like I always say, the universe aligns. You interviewed me, and in the end, you also help the world this way. So it's truly grateful, and to have you to do it for free. So let me just tell you, everybody, this is a very beautiful soul. She's someone y'all can connect with, and we are all the same. So always know that she is you and you are her. So that never changes. And having said that, if anybody has further questions and missed out on any of the emails she gave out, or her social media sites, you can send it to us on fmna1808@gmail.com, and we will forward it to Susan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to everyone watching this on various different platforms, as well as those who will watch the recording later. We are so happy to have you today, and to choose this transformation journey for yourselves, and to be part of the community that helps you. So go forth healing yourself and your inner child, and go on spreading the same message of love. Thank you very much, everyone.
Much love.